All right, so we're going to talk about traumatic events. How about you start first?
Great idea.
I'll smack
No.
you.
um, Traumatic. Oh my god, my entire life.
Bitch, it's only
It's
an
just
hour show. We ain't got all goddamn day.
dumpster fire. Here we go.
Dive in head
Uh,
first.
you what?
To dive in head first.
Oh,
Dive on in.
okay. Okay. Well, then I guess I'll just start with a random one. When I was relatively young, about 6, 7 years old, I was running up and down the ramp of a U-Haul truck while my parents were loading up the truck um, full of furniture and whatnot, and they kept telling me, "Don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself." Well, I
I,
didn't
I
listen.
was I was about to ask, did before you started that and you started saying I was running up and down the ramp of a U-Haul truck, I said, did your mom tell you not to do that? Because I feel like she told you not to do that.
She definitely did. They both did, and they were very pissy about it because I was in the way and I was going to hurt myself for one of them.
Hmm.
So I just kept running like a little dumbass, and I fell face first into the ramp. And the way I fell, it one of my front teeth got caught into one of the grooves
Ah, shit.
and turned my tooth around.
Oh,
Thankfully, it was not one of my adult teeth.
oh, God.
Yeah. And I
Man.
had to be rushed to the doctor, of course, and the doctor was poking at me with one of those little fucking popsicle sticks. And he kept like jabbing it in my throat, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, I don't like that, and making me gag. And so I get mad at him because I'm in a lot of pain, and he's just like jabbing me with this thing. And so, mind you, this was the early '90s. I decided it'd be a brilliant idea to spit all the blood in my mouth on his face. I mean, this was just like fresh out of the AIDS crisis. So, doctor was not very happy with me.
I would imagine not. I was low-key thinking it's like gagging you with it. You're like, I kind of like that. Go deeper. Let's see how far we can go. Oops,
No,
I swallowed it.
I was innocent.
You wasn't a fucking innocent day in your life. Bitch
I
told me
wasn't
you
a
would.
hoe at 6. That was 10 years later.
Aw.
But yeah,
Oh,
that was my first traumatic. Well, not my first traumatic experience, but I think, yeah, for this
one of
video, we'll say it's the first.
one of the top 10.
Mm,
So
no, top 20.
oh god. I'll tell you how I became claustrophobic. Um, when I was a wee little lad, my dumbass father, if you can call him that, locked me in a fucking basement. And it was completely dark in there, and there was like all kinds of shit around, like dangerous holes and all that shit. And he just straight up locked me in it, and I couldn't get out, and I kept like screaming and like pounding on it. I was hitting on the fucking wall until like my hands were bleeding. And my mom
Oh,
finally came down, I think, like an hour later, after she's like, "Hey, our child's
oh my
missing."
god.
And I was like,
Oh,
"Hey, I've been down here this whole fucking time."
oh my god. I'd be snot slinging, panicking, just freaking out.
All I
Ugh.
was, and keep in mind, this was like young me, where I was very much into like starting getting into horror, like watching my brother play Resident Evil and stuff. So
Ugh.
all of that shit, like the zombies and stuff, going through my head and being like stuck in there, like in pure dark where I couldn't get out. Yeah, that was pretty fucking scary. So yeah, I got over my claustrophobia a little bit. Like it's not as bad as it used to be, but now that I'm a big boy bear now, I can kick down a door with my adrenaline and say, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Oh my god.
Yeah,
You big boy bear. Oh.
yeah, yeah. That was fucking terrifying for me.
I would imagine so. I'd be pissed if I was your mom. I would probably, well, I would definitely kick the husband out. Be like, get the fuck out. Doing
Yeah,
that shit
well,
to my child.
social services got called, and I got what they
Damn.
call a big brother, and that was a really fucking weird thing. And he used to kick me out because I guess I had a shitty childhood, and he was trying to make it better for whatever fucking reason. And he took me to his house and played bluegrass music, and I hated every single fucking minute of it.
Ugh.
Yeah, I was like, can I just be locked in the basement again? I don't want to do that.
I remember being a part of like a Big Brother program when I was a little kid, but it was, I think, just for like a few months. It was like a thing for the local college,
Mhm.
and so it was just a semester. And I remember him actually being like super cool. Like he would actually hang out with me and take me places, like go to the zoo and whatnot.
Yeah, well, different fucking story for me, obviously.
Well, I mean, you know, podunk.
All right, what's your next one?
I don't know. There's so many to choose from. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Um. Oh, actually, weirdest, most fucked up thing that has stayed with me my entire life since it happened was I remember waking up late one night and I don't know what woke me up, but I was pretty young. I think I don't even know. It was stupid young. Anyways, I woke up suddenly and I'm just like staring in my room. It's pretty dark, and I see something dark or darker standing in the corner of my room by the my bedroom door. And my
Mhm.
bedroom door is closed, and it's just standing there. And my eyes start to adjust to the darkness, and I see what it is. And this is before my mom actually was introducing me to horror, so I wasn't, my imagination was not wild enough, not that creative. But it looked like a kind of like a rotting corpse.
Mhm.
Like there was like skeletal parts of it showing, and flesh that was all just rotted away and stuff, and it was just staring at me. And it wasn't like doing anything, it wasn't moving, it wasn't making noises. It just stood there staring at me. So as a little kid, I'm freaking the fuck out, screaming. And my mom comes rushing in to check on me, and I tell her what I'm seeing, and she turns, and when she turns, it's gone.
Oh,
And okay, yeah, you could chalk it up to a little kid just having a nightmare,
mhm.
whatever, imagination. But like I said, I was really young, so I wasn't even aware of things like that.
Right.
Like the spookiest thing I think I was subjected to was, the basic ass, Halloween stuff in the late 80s.
Yeah.
So something that graphic, I don't know, it freaked me out to my core, and it stuck with me forever. I still remember it in great detail.
Ooh.
And I don't know if it was like my first experience with potentially something paranormal.
Mhm.
I don't know. But yeah, it freaked me out, and I couldn't sleep. And I think we moved out of that house relatively soon after that. Don't know why.
Right. Your mom probably found some creepy shit in that house. She's like, ah, fuck, we gotta move.
Yeah, and that's why I think that you know, I think it might have been something paranormal is because one, I was an innocent, fresh-minded child,
Mhm.
and children are technically more subjective to like they're more aware,
Right.
and also my mom growing up was subjected to a lot of paranormal shit, and so I don't know if that was something that might have passed down to me. I don't know. But regardless, since then I've had other issues with paranormal shit and even to this day, so
Right.
fun.
That does sound fun. Going off of what you said with stuff sticking with you, I have a fucking awesome one that I can't really escape too much. So when I was a little kid, you know, shitty childhood, I had to go to see a therapist and psychologist and all that shit because apparently I was just batshit crazy according to my mom. Um, I remember we had went, and I don't remember the exact details. Anyway, I went on a grippy sock vacation to a lovely mental hospital as a child, which was just the fucking bee's knees. I loved it there. I was roomed up with this kid that was playing with Legos who would constantly look at me and say, "I'm building a bomb and I'm going to blow this place up." I'm like, "Okay, that's don't do that." But okay. I see why you're here. And this place was hell. It was very much like Silent Hill. The walls were just dirty as all hell, like bars on the windows, on the doors, like no way getting out. Like it was a very fucked up thing to be in as a kid. And one of the things that really stuck to me and still stuck with me to this day is I remember it was at nighttime, everyone was going to sleep. I got woke up because this little girl was like screaming, like you would think somebody was like straight up fucking torturing her. And I like got up and I looked out the door and I saw her like being dragged away like by her feet. And
Shit.
she was kicking and screaming and shit. And they took her to a room and then all of a sudden like everything stopped. Like it was like you put a game on pause. Like there was no noise, nothing.
Just like an instant.
Yeah, and scared the absolute fuck out of me. And now to this day, if I'm like at work or if I go into any kind of grocery store or anything like that, and I hear like a kid crying, like fucks with my it fucks with me, and I just have flashbacks of that day, and like I have to put headphones in like immediately and like turn it up as loud as I can to drown that shit out. So
Oh my
that's
god.
fun.
I wonder what they did to her. Did they like snap her neck and kill her and just drag her corpse off, or did they just like inject her with something?
I'm assuming they sedated her ass, but yeah, that was
I would have been,
fucking scary.
yeah, I would have been freaking the fuck out. Like, ah, shit.
Whenever I go into a store and I hear a kid screaming, I have those flashbacks. Like, God damn it, not again! I was normal for a second.
I think
That's
being subjected to a place like that could really fuck up any kid.
oh yeah, yeah. Not to mention, like, as a kid, I was put on some really fucked up meds. Like, they made me feel more suicidal than anything, and like, even at an early age, I was like self-harming quite a bit, and got me into the hospital yet again. So that was fun.
Oh,
Yeah, trauma. We gotta love it.
see, I guess I could, I understand that because, I've been in a similar situation. Granted, the facility I was put into was much nicer than that. It was a newer, modern building. Um, It honestly just felt like you were in any sort of like just normal doctor office.
Hmm.
Like that was the aesthetic. So it didn't creep you out. It didn't freak you out. Even our bedrooms looked like normal bedrooms.
Yeah.
So um,
Why the fuck
I
did you get the
don't,
princess treatment?
I don't know. Maybe I lived in a better area. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
You lived in the decrepit, like you
Silent
know,
Hill.
yeah, Silent Hill place. So, uh, mine was butterflies, and yours was rust and blood.
Pretty much. And
Uh,
yeah, look how it turned out. What
yeah.
a hateful little cunt that you know today. All right, your turn.
Oh, it's always my turn. Um, let's see. Traumatic, traumatic, traumatic. Um, when I was a toddler, I thought it would be a brilliant idea to chase my mom's cat at the time up the stairs. And I guess I was, being a little butthead child, and I bullied the poor cat. So I'm chasing the little bastard up the stairs, crawling after it. And I guess the cat had enough of it, turned around, still had its claws, by the way, swiped me, and got its claw right in my tear duct and gave me my first black eye.
Ow. I mean, you kind of deserve it, but ow.
Oh, yeah, I definitely deserved it. It was a little shit.
We bring the cat onto the show and let it talk about the trauma you put it
I
through.
mean, we'll probably need a Ouija board and someone to translate, cat speak.
All you get was this bitch.
Don't know what happened to that cat. But
Probably better
anyway,
off now.
probably sitting up in kitty heaven laughing at my miserable life. But that was, I guess, kind of traumatic because I mean, if you think about it, ow.
Yeah.
uh,
Ow.
or I guess that wasn't really much of a story. There was another time, much later. I was probably like around 8 or so, and
Mhm.
we had gone over to a friend's house, and they had a family dog who was the sweetest dog ever, and I loved it. Anyway, dog was snoozing, and I thought it'd be a brilliant idea to go up and shake it awake. Not so smart, because I guess I startled the dog, and its reaction was to bite, and it bit me in the face, like right on my chin, and sunk its teeth right in there, breaking the skin.
Ow.
Yeah, not pleasant. I felt
Oh,
bad for the dog, of course, later on, years later, because, I don't know what happened to the dog. I hope nothing,
right.
because it was my fault. It wasn't like the dog was being
Hmm.
aggressive.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess let sleeping dogs lie.
You're terrible with animals.
I was as a little kid. We had a ferret when I was, well, when I was a toddler, and he was my best friend, and I would just grab him and swing him around, and he did not give a shit. And I did all sorts of things with him. I used him as a plunger one time. Um,
Why?
I, I don't know. I just dunked him, like not head first, but like just butt first into the toilet and just going up and down, and he didn't care. And I opened up my beanbag chair and I threw him in there. I didn't zip it up, but I threw him in there, and he just pulled like all the tiny little beads out, and my mom was so pissed about it.
Hope your mom beat your ass.
Oh, she probably did. But me and him were both little hell spawns together.
It's kind of cute.
Yeah, stinky bastard.
It's in the fucking toilet. What do you expect?
Maybe he smelled bad, and I thought, oh, he needs to go in the toilet for a bath.
Jesus. I
Hmm.
was trying to think of another traumatic experience I went through out of like the 5,000 that I've went through. Um, there was a time when I was in high school and I was going to go see my friend in New York,
Hmm.
and it was the first time I've ever been on a plane, and I was going on it by myself. And while we was in the air, like I was fine, taking off and everything, and then the people in front of me was arguing, and it was fucking scary because the stewardess or whatever was coming down is like, "Hey, you need to calm down, or we're going to have to land the plane." I'm like, "No, don't do that. Like, I'm still a little kid. Like, I don't know where I'm going." And yeah, the dude started like holding his chest. I'm gonna have a heart attack. I'm like, "Don't fucking have a heart attack. We're still in the air. Wait till we land in New York, and then you can have your heart attack." So that was scary for me because, like I said, I'd never been in that situation before, and I'll be damned if, like, on our way back, going back home, I got on the plane and they stopped it and is like, "Hey, we can't take off because the plane's like overweight, and we need somebody to volunteer to get off." And I'm like, "I can't do that. I got school tomorrow."
Take one of the fat bitches.
I'm saying, oh shit. But yeah, that was I'm fine with planes now. Like I love riding in a plane, but
Hmm.
my first time and that was my experience with it. I was like, I'll never forget that. It was just shitty.
Yeah, that sounds pretty shitty. I would have been quite annoyed, especially if they did have to turn the plane around.
I got school.
Oh, that too, yeah. Like, no, no,
Yeah.
no. No, if they had another plane taking off like an hour later or something like that, that would be different. I'd be like, okay, I'll volunteer to get off, and I'll take the next one.
Mhm.
But
That
anything
was
paranormal? Anything spooky ooky?
yes, tons. For whatever reason, my mom thought it was a fun activity for me as a kid to walk through cemeteries and mausoleums, which I still love doing to this day, but not the typical thing that you would do with your child as a kid. But I remember going into a mausoleum with my mom one time, and there was like this black shadow that just like kept popping up, and my mom saw it, and she would just like make comments about it. And I'm sitting there, as a kid, holding her hand, like, "Why are we still here? Like, shouldn't we go? That's a bad thing." She's like, "No, it's all right." So yeah,
No,
that
I
was
mean, the Black Shadow could have been innocent. It could have just been a spirit of one of the deceased or something.
yeah,
Or it could have been a fucking demon that was stalking your ass, ready to possess you and all that fun stuff.
good possession. I think I told you, but
Oh.
it's a fun story. At work, I was a processor, which means I had to take all the items and price them and whatever. So my boss told me that, if anything like vases or anything like felt heavy, to empty them and whatever. So I was like, all right, I got you. So I come across this vase and it was heavy, like not heavy, heavy, but you could definitely tell something was in it. and it had a Dollar General sticker on the bottom of it. So I thought maybe somebody just put some rocks or something in it. So it was sealed up, and I undid the cork or whatever, and a bunch of dust poofed in my face and went up my
Oh,
nose and down my mouth.
oh,
Like
oh!
I
You
caved,
just inhaled grandma.
yeah. And I stood there, and one of my coworkers is like, "Are you okay? You're like really pale." I'm like, no, I think I just swallowed something or somebody, and I don't know how to feel now. So I go tell my boss, like, hey, so this is what happened. She's like, all right, don't freak out. Let's just dump it out and, see what's in it and, go from there. All right. So I dumped it out and it was nothing but fucking ashes. And I was like,
Oh.
I don't know who the fuck I swallowed, but I hope you had fun in my like broken down body, bitch. Like, you're not going to stay long, I promise you.
Oh. So you haven't been temporarily taken over at random moments.
No, no.
Damn.
I think once they got in, like, oh, I'm gonna possess this bitch, and like after the first like 24 minutes, they're like, oh god, his life is terrible. I'm just leaving.
Oh my god. I think when I die, I want to. One of my options is to be cremated, and if I am, I want to be stuck in an urn that says, whoever disturbs this urn will be cursed or something like that. Put some sort of spooky curse on it or something. I really want to fuck with the living.
Return the slab.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my
Shit.
god. Um, let's see. I know when I lived with my grandmother for a few years, there were quite a few ooky spooky moments. Because I do believe her house has or had a presence. I don't know if it's still there because I haven't lived with her in many, many, many years. Um, but it was it was weird. It was creepy, but it wasn't like something was after me. It wasn't gonna cause harm. It was more of just being there.
Mhm,
The only times I actually was completely weirded out were like in one instance in the middle of the night. I'm laying there in bed, falling asleep, and all I hear is the hum of my desk fan. And then
mhm.
out of nowhere, I just hear this loud crash, and it scares the absolute shit out of me. And I'm like, what is going on? So I jump up, turn on the light. My desk fan was in the middle, like on the floor in the middle of my bedroom, and had been like pulled out of the wall.
Oh.
Like if it was a simple, like just fall off onto the floor because of vibrations or whatever, fine, explainable. I get it. It makes sense. Whatever. Moving on. But it was yanked out because not only was the fan in the middle of my room, but so was the cord. Like if it was just like it fell and just happened to pull it out because of the force of the fall,
Mhm.
I feel like it would have been a lot closer to the actual outlet, but it was with the fan.
Oh.
And I was like, well, goddamn, Judy, you don't like my fan, but I'm trying not to die here in this heat. So
She
that
said, if I
was an
have to be
instance that
miserable,
freaked
you
me
do,
out.
bitch.
Another, huh?
She said, if I have to be miserable, so you, bitch.
Well, I mean, no offense to my grandmother, love her to death, but living with her was not exactly easy. Um, but anyway, so another instance was a few years later. The bedroom I was staying in was technically the master bedroom,
Mhm,
and there was one night the guy I was dating at the time, he and I were in the bedroom, and I think he was watching TV and I was on the computer, and out of nowhere there was like this rapid tapping on the window.
Mhm.
And I was like, what the fuck? Because it was a window in my backyard. It wasn't
Oh,
like, out where like a random passerby could just fuck with you, you know?
yeah.
They would have to literally hop the fence or something to get into my backyard. So I was like, what the shit? And I was thinking, well, okay, maybe it's like wind kicking something up and it just happened to hit the window and it was just in rapid succession or whatever.
Mhm.
So I'm peeking out the window and it's pretty dark. It's the middle of the night and I don't see anything really. One, because it's super dark, but just in general, I don't see anything. Like no movement, no outlines of anything, not even an animal. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
And I'm like, whatever. I go back to what I'm doing. I hear it again, and I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's just one of my friends fucking with me because at the time I had stupid friends. Anyway, so I'm texting a couple of them like, hey, where you at? And they're like doing their own thing. Okay, whatever. So I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna ignore it. So I'm trying to ignore it because I hear it again, and this time I literally hear somebody say, hey.
Oh, did you say
I
hello
can
back?
No, I could see my boyfriend like because the way the room was set up, I could see him perfectly, and it was definitely not him. His mouth was closed, and he was focused on TV, and it was not the TV because
Hmm.
it came from the fucking window that was next to me. I was just like, this is not cool. So I closed the blinds and the curtains, and I go and I wake my grandmother up. And I'm like, I think somebody's in our yard. And she goes, what do you mean? And I'm like, I tell her everything, and she's like, okay, call the police because we don't know who it is. So, we call the police. They come down. They do a perimeter search. They don't see anything around our house or in the backyard. No evidence of a break-in, nothing like that. So they're like, all right, well, we'll patrol the neighborhood like every so often for the next, couple hours. And if we find something, we'll let you know. They never found anything, I guess, because they never came back.
Mhm.
But it was just weird. It was like just out of nowhere, and I don't know if it was whatever was haunting her house or whatever. And I'm just doing air quotes because I don't know what the fuck was going on with that house. Um, I don't know what it was, but it was just very weird and creepy.
Sounds like it. There was a time, it was like one of those "I told you so" moments. Like you should have listened to me. Um, this was before I could drive. My friend was picking me up and was going to go hang out at his house, and I had got a game and we was going to play that, and I forgot it at my house. So he was like, "Oh, I'll just take you back," because we didn't live very far from each other. And I remember it was summer. It was hot as fuck, and he didn't have AC in his car, so he had the windows
Ugh.
rolled down. And the way to get to my house was you had to go through this little tunnel, and get to my house that way. So we was parked or stopped at the red light at the tunnel, and there was a guy walking out of the tunnel. This was like I want to say 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I got this weird feeling. It's like, hey, roll your window up. This guy's gonna try to get in. And my friend's like, no, you're just being stupid. It's like, no, I just feel like this guy's gonna try to get in your car. So he didn't, and guy got closer and like was getting closer to the car and like got off the sidewalk. Like I told him like roll your fucking window up, and he didn't have like the power windows. He had to like crank that shit. And the guy started like reaching into the car. It's like I fucking told you so. He just started driving off.
Oh my god.
So yeah, we went and got my game and came back and didn't see that guy. So that's cool. Spoiler alert:
That
we lived.
no, obviously, because unless I'm speaking to a spirit right now.
Bitch, you might be
Ooh.
dead on the inside.
Oh, let's see.
It was around that same time that this is another I told you so moment. Like we was on lunch and we was sitting in his car. And this guy was like pulling in and said, "That guy's gonna hit your car." I said, "No, he's not." He hit the car. He said, "This stupid motherfucker got out and started cussing him out." People should listen to me more often. Just saying.
Yeah, bitch knows best.
I do.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Trying to remember. Oh God, my mind went blank, and I love that. And we're live in three, two.
Mm.
Um, let's see. I remember this one time. It was actually fairly recent. It was in my current house, and I
Mhm.
think I've told you this story before about the shadow people.
I think so.
So when we first moved in, my house just we think had one residing spirit, which is the previous owner, we're assuming,
Mhm.
because it never had any ill intent. It was an elderly lady who had lived in this house probably a good 40 plus years.
Mhm.
And anyway, so she didn't really bother us. Like, she definitely made her presence known with the occasional movement of objects and maybe little noises here and there, or just a feeling of being watched.
Mhm.
But it wasn't like a creepy watch, it was more like a curious watch.
Mhm.
And even my mother, who had stayed over a couple of times, said the moment she entered our house, she sensed something. And when she would sleep in the guest bedroom, she said that's where the strongest sense was.
Mhm.
And so she thinks that maybe that bedroom was the previous owner's.
Mhm.
Because she said that she always felt like someone was in that room with her, standing in like one of the corners opposite the bed, staring at her, just watching her.
Mhm.
And she never felt threatened, but she always just knew it was there. And anyway, so that's been here. I don't know if she's still here, possibly, who knows. Um, but there's been other entities here and there since then, including shadow people, which I do not like fucking with shadow people. From personal experience, no good.
Mhm.
Not a good thing to mess with. Because I mean, they're not technically ghosts. They're or demons per se. I mean, they're just it's something totally different.
Mhm.
So not all people have ill intent either. They could just be there existing in general, just whatever.
Mhm.
But the ones in our house, I don't know what the fuck they were doing. They weren't attacking us, but they would do things that would intentionally freak me out.
Mhm.
And there was an instance where I had woken up one night and I was experiencing sleep paralysis, and
Ooh, I had that before.
it's not fun.
No.
And sometimes they say that sometimes when you have sleep paralysis, you see things, shadow people or whatever. and it's not always real. Well, that's what I was chalking what I had seen up. Just I had just I had seen something in the corner of my eye. I was frozen, couldn't really do anything, couldn't even speak, and I saw the shadow. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's got to be what I'm experiencing. It's not actually there. So when I finally snap out of it, I roll over, and it's still standing in my bedroom doorway.
Ooh.
Our bedroom door is always closed when we go to sleep. It was wide
Mhm.
open, and it's just standing there, staring at us. I'm assuming staring at us. It's a shadow. You can't see its fucking face. And out of nowhere, it runs into our bedroom across the front of our bed into our bathroom.
What the fuck? Had to go.
Well, and it just like it ran in there, and our bathroom always stays partially open.
Mhm.
And it was dark, and it just ran in there, and I was just like, what the actual fuck? And I was frozen. I was terrified. Like, I don't know what the hell that was. I don't want to move. I mean, I could move, obviously, but I didn't want to. And I stared at that bathroom for what seemed like forever. And then finally, I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and I shine it towards the bathroom, and it's completely empty. There's nothing in there. So I get up and I turn on the light and I look around, nothing. And I go up and I look in the hallway, nothing. And so I just shut the doors and I lay back down and spend the next few hours just laying there wide awake, like I can't go back to sleep.
Why
It
I
was
just
just
imagine you laying in bed, having the covers like over you, and you're like barely peeking out of them. And the shadow person comes up, he's like, "Hey, you got any more toilet paper?" I blew that shit up. I bet.
oh, spooky shits. But no, like so there was that incident with the shadow people. There were other moments I would see them in different rooms walking by out of the corner of my eye.
Mhm.
Um, uh, but eventually they just stopped. I haven't seen them in so long. Um, and I think it has something to do with the neighbors next door that I told you about that unfortunately, passed away in their home.
Mhm.
Um, an elderly couple. And that house itself was always creepy because you never saw them, except on a very rare occasion you would see the husband. But they always kept to themselves, and the house was just overgrown with plants and trees and stuff. So obviously, spook. But eventually, when they did die and were eventually found, and the house was demolished and completely cleared, that's when it all stopped.
Oh.
It was from the moment they like I don't know if it was like the moment they died, but it was around that time up until the moment the house was cleared out.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it has something to do with that house or the land itself, and I don't know. But never saw anything again, shadow people wise. But during that time, also, there were a couple instances where both myself and my other half would hear each other's voices calling out to them
Oh.
when we weren't doing that.
That's gonna
And
cause an
mimicking
argument.
voices is very concerning because I don't know if that's specifically a demonic thing, but I was just like, oh, this is not good.
Well,
So, huh?
for you want me to come down to visit?
Well, so no, what I did is I did some cleansing, and I set up some wards and whatnot over our front door and our back door, and then also I have ow. I have an evil eye in my office. So, uh, ever since then, and ever since the house next door got cleared out, it's really died down, the activity in general.
Mhm. You should carry around
Um,
some salt with you just in case you see it and you throw it into the face. Salt in your face, you fine ass bitch.
I've thought about lining doorways with salt, windowsills with salt, stuff like that. But that's just a mess. And
So how
that
would you
attracts
feel also
ants.
if you did do something like that and you actually seen like footprints in it?
I I would tell my partner we're moving out of this house and I don't care what you have to say about it. And if they didn't want to go with me, then I would leave.
We're staying at the
I would
Holiday Inn. They got a
I
pool.
would I would go stay with my friend down the road. I'd be like, hey girl, I'll
My
sleep on your
house
couch.
haunted.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go stay with you. I'll pay rent. I'm just not going back. No, in all seriousness, I would try to leave. I would do everything in my power, and I would not leave my pets there. Like,
Yeah.
I would not be comfortable.
Speaking of pets, the house I grew up in, this is very, very terrible fucking place. I went through a lot of death in that house. Just aunts and uncles and my grandma, like all kinds of people died during that time that I stayed there. So it's like a very sad place, but it's like where I grew up.
Hmm.
And obviously had a lot of pets and pass away and whatever, natural causes and shit. And I would see them at the corner of my eye at times. And yeah, it was weird. That house was fucking terrible. I did a lot of stupid shit in that house. I remember when I was little, I had a cyst on my throat, and they had to do a surgery to have it removed. And I was a little kid, and I was just remember looking in the mirror, and I saw like the stitches. I didn't know what stitches was, and I hollered out to my mom, I was like, "Hey, I've got hair right there. I'm gonna pull it out." And as I was like gripping the stitch to pull it, my mom came in there and she smacked the fuck out of my hand. She said, "Don't you touch that."
He's like, yeah.
Uh, you sound far away.
Oh, that's weird.
There you go. Just a lot of bad things happened in the house. This is the same house where I got locked in the basement. And yeah, not a good place. It's been demolished since then, so that's cool.
Oh, I was about to ask, would you ever live there again? But obviously not.
Yeah, no, it's nothing but flat land. But I am so mad because also when I was a kid, I used to watch my brother play Mortal Kombat and stuff. And this was back when we had KBs at our mall, and they had Mortal Kombat trilogy toys.
Hmm.
And I was watching my brother play the game, and he did the fatalities and stuff, and died in the game. Well, my stupid brain couldn't you know figure out that that wasn't real. And when I was playing with my toys, like he would go outside to smoke, and I would play with the toys on the banister, and sometimes I would drop them onto the ground below, and I thought they
Hmm.
were dead, so I buried them. I remember going to KB, and I wanted the scorpion one again, and my mom said, "You already got that one." I said, "No, it's dead. I buried it." She said, "What do you mean you buried it?" I said, "It's dead. It fell off the banister, and I buried it in the yard." Boy, did I get my ass beat for not
You gotta
getting
dig up
anything.
those damn toys.
I'm mad because of how expensive they are now.
Hmm. Oh my god.
What is the most frightening experience you've had in a supposed haunted location? I went to um, was this park? I can't remember the name of it right offhand.
I
Uh,
wouldn't give your location away. You might get a stalker.
Ain't nobody gonna stalk my ass. But fuck is the name of it? It's a haunted like amusement park. Um,
Mhm.
Lake Shawnee, that's what it is. So me and my friend went there, and they was doing like quote unquote ghost tours and shit. And the place is supposedly haunted. A lot of people died. And, like a little girl died on this giant swing set that they had, and people will go up there and pay their respects, bring little toys and whatnot, put on there. And as we're walking through it, like this woman came up. I don't know if she was an actor or what, but she came up to me and my friend, and she's like, "If you go over that way where the burial marker is, I was hearing voices over there." And I said, "Bitch, I hear enough voices that is it is. I don't need to hear anything else." But nothing ever
Oh,
happened there at a supposed haunted location. One place I really like to go to is the Allegheny and Lunatic Asylum because I've heard
I
like so many haunted things happen in there.
I'd love to.
And before I
I'd
let
love to
you
so bad.
answer yours, there's also a place around you. I don't know exactly how far it is away from you, but it is a hospital. And supposedly, when you go in there, it's haunted by some nuns. And if you have tattoos, then like she scratches you.
Can you get my back? Thanks.
Me being the person I am with all the fucking tattoos I have, she's just going to take my skin off.
Probably.
Especially if she
Should be
sees
like,
the nun. But yeah. Um, what was the most frightening experience you've had at a supposed haunted location?
oh. That was a tough one because, I mean, excluding what I've already said, um, I remember this was probably back in 2007, 2008,
Hmm.
and in, I was with I was with the person I was dating and a couple of our friends, and we went to a cemetery on Halloween in the middle of the night because, stupid teenage shit.
Hmm.
Or young adult, I guess you could say. Um, so we were like, let's go out this way because legend has it that there is two things that happen at the cemetery. One is actually three. So there are three things. One is supposedly there is or was some sacred Native American burial grounds in the area that
Hmm.
were disturbed to make this cemetery. Um, so that's a big dumb shit move on their part. Um, so there's a lot of activity with sightings of Native American spirits and stuff like that. Um, Another thing is there is um, a statue there of a woman, and she's crying. I guess it's just like a sad woman statue, whatever. And it's a grave marker for supposedly a witch from over, like, obviously over 100 or so years ago. Well, more than 100 years ago because it was in the 1800s. Um,
She knew
and
math. That's why
supposedly,
they
it's
burned her.
cursed. Huh?
She knew math. That's why they burned her.
Probably. Probably a totally innocent woman.
Hmm.
But supposedly it's cursed, and if you mess with it, her spirit will do some stupid shit to you, or blah blah blah. I don't know.
Hmm.
But the other thing is, um, the other thing with the cemetery is there have been issues with satanic cults going out there and making sacrifices and stuff.
Oh.
And so we went out there like little dumbasses, hoping to see something spooky, not satanic, obviously, because no, but spooky. And Couple things did happen. There was an instance where, while we were walking around, we heard someone crying. Couldn't figure out where it came from. We did find the crying woman statue, and um, her there were spiders all over her, like live spiders just crawling all over her.
That's hot.
So that was fun looking.
That's gonna
um,
be you on your wedding day,
Probably cover me in
crying statue.
spiders. My entire dress is made out of spiders, live spiders. But no, so that was kind of like, okay, that's fun. Didn't mess with her, with the statue or anything. I was like, I don't want to, dabble in that just in case. Um, but there was the hearing, the crying we heard. There was some voices that we were hearing. It was like whispers.
Mhm,
We did see in the far off distance, because this cemetery was relatively large
mhm,
and it's like pitch black out there. Like they don't have lighting at all.
mhm.
But at the far end, away from where we parked, we could see what looked like some sort of lighting, whether it was candles or flashlights or whatever. And we were
Cut
like,
you off, but I'm very
huh?
curious. You said no lighting in the cemetery. Do cemeteries usually have lighting in them?
Um, I want to say like some will have like street lamps that will light up like alongside certain parts of the roads that go through them. So obviously, if you're having a late service, you can
Yeah.
get see your way out and all that. But this one did not. It was a very, very, very old cemetery,
Yeah,
and
because I was gonna
like,
say the two that's around me, one I go to, the most, has no lights. And it's not like a huge cemetery, but like there's two sections to it, and like neither section has lights to it. And then there's another one that's not far from me, and it's the same thing with that. Like the only lights that are there is in the mausoleum. And I don't think I've ever seen a cemetery that had lights in it, like street lamps or anything.
oh, maybe it's just the more modern, newer ones.
The
Um,
hipster dead people.
hmm,
The dead hipster people.
yeah, exactly. But no, the lights that we did see though were like smaller lights. It was definitely not like a lamp post or anything like that. So, um, but we ignored it. We thought, okay, maybe someone lit some candles and left it there at someone's grave.
Mhm,
A prayer candle, whatever. Since I do live in the South, and there is a lot of um, Hispanic people, so that is very common to see at grave sites.
mhm,
So a lot of Catholics and stuff. So pretty normal. So that's what we thought we saw at first, and so we ignored it and we just kind of explored a little bit. Heard the crying, heard the talking, the whispering noises, and as we got closer, we actually could see people where those lights were.
mhm,
And there were more lights, and it looked like a group of people. And so we just kind of quietly like backed away, like we're not going to get any closer because we don't know who they are, what they're doing, because it could be possibly something satanic going on because it was Halloween night. Um, we got back to the car, and there was this, like, I don't know if it was a person or an animal, but there was a scream
ooh,
that we heard. We all heard it, and we were like, "What the shit is that?"
mhm,
And so it was just one scream. That's all it was, and then it was silent. And then so the fence, or yeah, the fence that went around the the cemetery was chain link.
Mhm.
The so that fence near us started shaking, like like someone was shaking the fence, but there was no one there.
Oh.
And they just like it just kept shaking and shaking, and then we were hearing these weird kind of like almost high pitch, like I wouldn't say screams or squeals or anything, but it was like this really high pitch noise, and it just kept going. And while the gate, the fence was shaking, and so we're like, let's go. So we're like, we're not gonna fuck with that any further.
You was smart not to do that.
Yeah, because I don't know what was gonna happen, and I have massive respect for burial, like anything that's sacred. Like I'm not
Mhm.
gonna fuck with that because one, I have respect for the culture and everything, but also no. I don't want to be cursed or haunted or possessed. No.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. I love that. I love spooky shit. I love going into cemeteries. I've actually never been in a mausoleum. I'd love to go.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Um, I gotta take you if you ever come down to visit. Up, down, left, right, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But anyway, if you ever come over to visit, I'll take you to the mausoleum that I go to. It's spooky. I had to take photos for class one day, like different textures, and me and my friend had went up there to do so. And we was walking around like the mausoleum is. If somebody's in there, you can definitely hear them. Like you can hear the door opening. It's a small mausoleum, and we was just walking around, and I was finding different textures and whatnot, and kept hearing somebody walk in. So we went over that way, and absolutely nobody there. There was no cars parked outside or anything like that. So it was like, what the fuck? We went further into the mausoleum, and it sounded like it was getting closer, and it wasn't just like creaking and like the place settling in or any kind of wind. It was like straight up fucking footsteps. And I got my pictures, and we got the fuck out. I
Yeah.
I
Good
told
idea.
my friend if we see anything, he better run ahead of me because I'm gonna trip his ass. I'm not getting eaten.
That's the one thing I am not afraid of is zombies because it's so unrealistic. The
I
only
don't know.
the only quote unquote zombie I think could be realistic is potentially something that is drug induced, chemical induced, and it has to be somebody who's either still alive or recently deceased. That one is more believable than what we see in like, Hollywood shit.
Mhm.
Like I'm not gonna freak out and think, oh my god, they're gonna burst out of their coffins and they've been buried for over 100 years. Because no,
Yeah.
like you need all that shit, muscle, tendon, all that shit to move. Bones don't move, sweetheart.
Wasn't there like a parasite or something that can turn like some insects into like zombies, basically?
Yeah,
I could see that happening.
that'd be kind of hot.
But the thing is, like, we've played so many games at this point, like we kind of know what we should do in some kind of event like that. I say that, and then if something like that actually ever happened, I would probably be the first to fucking go. And to be quite
Mm-mm.
honest with you, if say this whole world turned into like the Resident Evil bullshit, like there's lickers, hunters, and all of that, I'm going to tell you now, I'm not going to try to survive. I'm just going to accept my fate. If I saw a licker or hunter standing in front of me, just like licking its lips, I'm just going to sit down and smoke a cigarette and wait for what happens to happen. Like, I'm not outrunning that shit. I am not like going to fight that shit off. Like, I'm just GG, you know?
Yeah, better hope that it takes your head off first so you don't feel anything else.
Yeah.
Because no thank you.
All right. All right. Well, I think we are past our hour mark, and I have to pee really bad because that Dr. Pepper went right through me.
Oh my god, girl, I got a tinkle too.
Wins.
Whiz twins.
Oh no. All right. Bye.
Bye.